Hello, welcome to Animedex. Today I will be showing you guys top 10 harem anime, where the Mac is just too overpowered for the villains and has a bunch of girls around it. Number 10. Harem in the Labyrinth of Another World. Meet Michio Kaga. He gets transported into a game and gets used to the new world very quickly. Bold Mc builds up his powers as he works his ass off to become the best op-mac that slays countless monsters in the labyrinth. As he wanders off, he meets a slave owner in a special place. The slave owner is a slick businessman, and he gets Michio to get him some money in exchange for one of his thick girls, Roxanne. Our OP gets enlightenment after watching Roxanne's Jiggle Bells. Now he is willing to go all out to buy his foxy girl. Number 9. The greatest demon lord is reborn as a typical nobody. Demon Lord Varvatos is known as the strongest entity to ever exist, but even he starts to get bored of being overpowered. He decides to start fresh by reincarnating as a nobody. Even after reincarnating and significantly weakening himself, the Mick remains overpowered. To make things worse, the repercussion of abandoning his previous position starts to hunt him in some of the most bizarre ways imaginable. Well, he still has his powers. Plus, there are lots of cute girls. If you have the mentality of a teenager and you like isekai shows spiced up with harem, then you will probably find yourself watching all the episodes. Number 8. The Eighth Son? Are you kidding me? A 25-year-old Japanese businessman wakes up in a fantasy realm as a 6-year-old heir to a poor farm castle. Wendelin von Benno Baumeister is the 8th son of the noble Baumeister family. As the 8th son, Wendelin finds out that he basically has to start life all over again and readjust. At some point, he runs across a mage user, and just like magic, he becomes really powerful. He is crazy powerful. The OP Max in some of these isekai harem shows start out really weak and become overpowered. But this guy, he is the best of the best, right off the bat. Now with his knowledge as a salaryman and newfound magic, Wendelin embarks on a quest to find his path in this new world. I know you're wondering where the harem is. Well, Wendelin adjusted nicely. He has a total of 20 mistresses, fiancé, and wives adoring his ass. Now I'll leave you to do the math to determine the level of harem. Number 7. The world's finest assassin gets reincarnated in another world as an aristocrat. Luft Tuatha D is a rough man who is an experienced assassin working for the organization. He kills for a living until he gets betrayed and murdered by the organization. However, a miracle in the form of a Buleg Aqua gives him the Isika card and a second chance at life. He finds himself in a world of magic swords and harem, lots of harem. But there is a catch. The goddess wants to use Luft's assassin skills to murder the legendary hero of a generic Jerp fantasy setting. He gets the harem character, Tarte, a poor slave he saved. She becomes the typical obedient love interest that follows her master's every command. Number 6. Death March to the Parallel World Rhapsody. Ichiro, a 29-year-old programmer who is stuck in a world that he programmed himself. He discovers his powerful abilities and becomes a high-level player. After exploring his character's true potential, he decides to keep it low and not cause any commotion. Death March is yet another isekai harem anime with an op-mac that is based on the concept of the protagonist stuck in a video game. Unfortunately, it seems that every isekai needs the same cookie cutter Imorc fantasy world. This genre has definitely been milked to hell. However, the unique part is that the main character is op, but he uses his powers in a more interesting way since in the real world he is much older. Ichiro shows off a mysterious feeling to the viewers about what he's planning to do, which makes it interesting. Number 5. The Ambition of Oda Nobunaga. Yoshiharu Sagara, a 17-year-old teenager Makis Isekai, and awakens in the middle of a war. However, he is rescued by Hideyoshi Toyotomi, a legendary figure, but at the price of his own life. While dying, Hideyoshi requests Yoshiharu to succeed him as a feudal lord after he passes away, which he honorably accepts. It didn't take Yoshiharu a lot of time to figure out that he has traveled to an alternative reality where cute females are warlords. As the newly appointed feudal lord, we accompany Yoshiharu on an adventure with his commander, Nobuna, and other female warriors, as he uses his knowledge of history to predict battles and aid Nobuna in the conquest of conquering Japan. Number 4. The Fruit of Evolution. An entire school's intercom is hacked, and the students are ordered to team up and prepare to be isekai'd, so they better team up. Makairagi always gets picked last. He gets roasted a lot. His classmates have all the cool powers. When he does his usual crying routine and wanders into a weird forest, Higari finds some coconut. Some monkeys steal it, then they start to worship Mike, so he decides to steal it back. Monkeys get angry, and right before they kill him, Ma gets saved. Then, He meets a hot gorilla. They develop a romance, and the gorilla dies. Turns out he ate a magic nut called the Fruit of Evolution, and Higari turns into this handsome op mech. Anyway, the harem kicks in, and the dead gorilla turns into a beautiful woman. Then he meets a bunch of girls, and they all fight over his op ass. Since we are on the subject of overpowered main characters, Hiragai is a straight-up god. On the harem side, it shows 5 girls taking a bubble bath together. Animals get turned into girls, and girls join the op mech's harem party. It is a ridiculous isekai, yet worth watching for the cringe pleasure. Number 3. World Breek. The Isekai harem's opmech is a young boy named Moroha Hayamura. He comes to this private school. He barely remembers who he was in his past life. But then he encounters the reincarnation of his sister. You see where I'm going with this one. The main problem is the characters. We have an isekai show with an over, the top harem stereotype, and a girl character whose only purpose is to upset others with her hyperactive behavior. However, I enjoyed the comedy that was brought upon by those characters. It eased me into the harem with laughter and then dragged me in with the full plot of the anime. Number 2. The hidden dungeon only I can enter. The protagonist, Noir-stalgia, gains the power to create, edit, or bequeath skills for himself or others. In exchange for points that he accumulates, he gets every girl he sees. The girls are pretty hot. Finally, an isekai harem where the protagonist is not scared of getting to second base. I enjoyed it. Usually it takes several seasons for the Mick to kiss someone, and this guy does it in the first episode. It is definitely worth watching. But every time there is a potential love interest, the opmech wets himself like a scared child. More shows need a man with some balls. Seriously. Number 1. How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom. The mock, Kazuya Suma, is isekai'd into a failing kingdom, and instead of turning into a predictable Izeki harem with an overpowered character that goes around destroying things, instead, he uses the powers of economics and politics. I found this to be a fresh take on the isekai harem genre. For once, we have an opmech who is not the best at killing monsters as a solution for everything, but an intellect who excels in politics and governance. I actually liked the parts about basic economics, the rebuilding of the kingdom, and the war. It is a good, underrated show for those who don't like the Mick being too. And that's the end of our list. If you enjoy watching these videos, then make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on that bell icon so you will be notified when I upload a new banger video. Also, let us know some of your favorite anime that you want in the next list in the comments below. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.